Imagine you're sitting in a meeting, and day after day, you get interrupted while speaking and can't get a word in. Loud voices take over, and you become quiet and start not to talk or interact because you're demoralized and finally just give up. Now, open your eyes and look around. Some of you are nodding because sadly, this is not uncommon. I told myself there must be a better way. There just must be. So I went to science, since there must be logic associated with human behavior. Now, as a STEM guy in high school, I wanted to understand how the brains of introverts and extroverts work. So I did what any high schooler would do. Strapped people into sci-fi looking equipment and measured their brain activity. And this is what I observed. Now, okay, this seems a little bit complicated. Let's simplify it. There are two types of brains, interested and lit up brains. There are two types of brains, interested and lit up brains and uninterested brains. Now, think of when you hear about your favorite sports team. Your brain lights up. Now, if I start talking about quantum physics, most people's brains would shut off. Now, most of the time, our brains stay lit up. Think of when you meet someone who is similar to you. Your brain lights up, it's familiar. Now, the more interesting part is when you meet someone who is different. Now, you're all probably thinking, okay, if they're different, that's the unfamiliar. Your brain's gonna shut off. But this is only half true. Indeed, when extroverts meet introverts, their brains shut off. Think of an extrovert in the library. However, counterintuitively, if an introvert meets an extrovert, their brain stays lit up and engaged because society has taught us to be familiar with extroversion. Now, introverts are left in a little bit of a dilemma. How do we get extroverts to engage with us? I started talking with others and stumbled into a conversation with a CEO, quieter like me, who told me in the real world, it's sink or swim. And that made me nervous about my own future. I didn't want to just sink because I was quiet, be forgotten, take a back seat. It felt a little like game over before I even began. But the reality is that the modern world is based on the values of extroverts, just like what Susan Cain wrote in her book, Quiet. And she is right. We promote the talkers more. We rate them higher and more positively. But simply, 50% of us are quiet. So I went out to answer one simple question. How do some people adapt better than others? What is their secret sauce? I went to leaders from C-suite execs, judges, politicians, academia, medicine, and more. And I was humbled as I had the privilege of interviewing so many important leaders. And I thought I should share their collective wisdom with everyone. I asked them, how do they thrive in and out of their character? How do they adapt and engage others? 4 years, 40 plus interviews later, here are some of the things they told me.
Inviting them to participate and also encouraging them to flex the extrovert muscle rather than just assuming they're an introvert, therefore they're not contributing to the conversations.
I found kind of that one-on-one communication kind of tailored with an openness to wanting to hear from people as a pretty good tool.
I was very shy growing up. I guess I would consider that introversion. But later on, I really got my energy from the people of Vermont as I traveled around the state and interacted with them and understood their hopes and dreams and concerns. And I guess by classic definitions, I became more of an extrovert.
I am an introvert that masquerades as an extrovert when necessary.
It's okay to fail and that you're going to get things wrong. And what's important is whether you continue to work on it until you get to a satisfactory solution.
Any person with any predisposition Self-awareness is difficult for all of us, and so along the way I've tried to, at various stages of my life, seek guidance from others that I respect.
So, after hearing all of these interviews, I saw a pattern emerge. My aha moment wasn't radical, but simple. Researchers at Berkeley found that introverts are more anxious, more demoralized, and feel far more frustrated when they can't participate. But these leaders had figured out an art to getting around that. That was their secret sauce. It was art, not science. And what I leave you with is their recipe, art. A, for adapting. Adapting doesn't mean being inauthentic, but quite the opposite. Learning to adapt based on context, environment, people, and circumstances doesn't require changing your personality. Instead, it requires being flexible, open-minded, and most importantly, ready for obstacles. Since we're in Texas, let me use a cowboy analogy. When cowboys are crossing the river on horseback, inevitably, their horses start twitching halfway through the stream. The horses want to go back to the known. What they know is where they came from. What they don't know is what is in front. That's the uncomfortable. Only the cowboy knows that getting to the other side takes just as much effort as turning back. One of the biggest things that has helped me adapt is to keep taking that forward step. Even when you don't quite know what is in front of you, just take that small step forward. Because one step back, while comfortable, it is just as risky and can drain us even more. Be the cowboy, not the horse. R, for repeating. When you're trying to change, trying something once is not enough. To get good at something, you must first learn to fail at it. Just like when the cowboys fall off the horse, they say, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, learn from your mistake, and then get right back on the saddle. First, learn to get on your horse, then start riding, one small step at a time. Then, believe in compound interest. Just taking a few small steps forward every day will lead to less of a chance of your horse turning back. And using compound interest, a 1% increase every day will make you 37 times as good by year's end. One of the biggest things that repeating has taught me is to be consistent, not perfect. T, for teaming. Adapting and repeating means finding a good teammate as well. But finding a teammate who is just like you creates an echo chamber and doesn't challenge the status quo. And finding someone unlike you can be extremely uncomfortable. But just like when cowboys first meet their horse, it's only uncomfortable at the start. Sure, they may get thrown off a few times. After all, it's the horse's natural tendency. But with time and commitment, they form a strong bond. So I challenge you to go find that buddy. Find someone who will push you out of your comfort zone. Because while uncomfortable at the start, it will make you a much better rider by the end. Okay, let's summarize. Learning to thrive and not just survive in a world that values the traits of extroverts is an art, not a science. Leaders taught me that their secret sauce was to adapt, repeat, and team. I have to work hard to flex my extroverted muscle. And I lose muscle mass if I don't keep up with the practice. I wouldn't be here if I didn't swallow my own pill. I had to be the cowboy, as my horse told me to turn back and not to do this speech. I had to lean into my discomfort over and over and over again to be here today. And I had to find a buddy who is my complete opposite to push me. So, what I leave you with is this. As an introvert, I am trying. Are you? And for the other 50% of extroverts out there, will you adapt to me or adopt me? Thank you.